Hey guys, welcome back. It's Lucid, and I got a couple turns for you here. First one, we have our Jedi trying to be Jedi. Let's see if it actually is Jedi expansion with a bunch of spread out dudes. This actually is kind of funny. This squad right here is gonna beeline it past all my bait, all my decoys. Archer's shooting at this squad. This squad's about to run. But these guys are just running straight through the gauntlet right here in the middle. And they're about to tag this Eparch right in the face. So they chop these guys up. These guys, I lost an Eparch, but they're now routing. Normally when they're routed, they're going to target another dude. They'll switch targets to the archers, but they didn't. Anyway, we knew this was a risk. And in fact, when we ran test games, we often lost an Eparch here. And we were doing sweaty testing for this, like, because I haven't done this a lot, so I don't really know how it would work. And if we lose 3 Eparchs, we're in trouble. So I want to make sure we had a pretty high chance to take this province. And ideally without losing a lot of Eparchs. So we lost 1, but we got, that was the big farmland, and we're going to take a look at it, and there's something very special there. This is the other province where we brought too much stuff, to be honest. But there are a fair amount of crossbowmen here, and the Malia Drazina don't love crossbows. So, but that lance charge just ruined that heavy infantry. And, you know, what's nice is we had enough to kill it in one volley, so we weren't sitting here right in front of their crossbows taking crossbow shots, because you can see we were taking some damage. We got, I don't know how afflicted we got, but you can see this guy got the 6, 8, 7, so I think if I didn't do a big crossbow, I mean a big overcommitment here, we probably would have lost like 2 or 3 heavy cav, which is a lot of money. It's like 300, you know, like 100 something bucks. Anyway, we ended up taking it with very minor losses, or no losses. I think we got a little afflictions, a little bit of affliction, but yeah, guess what, guys? 2,400 or 24,000. I can't talk. 24,000 population. Once we get rid of the unrest, it's probably going to be right around 200 income. Once we get our scales in here, it's going to be probably around like 250 income. And once we get our forts built, it's going to be like 350 once it's all the way up. And our dominions fully spread and all that, I bet. But we got the steel ovens. I have never gotten this. I don't think. I mean, we go back and check all the videos I've done. I don't think I've ever gotten this in a multiplayer game. And I've been playing dominions for forever, right? Like 6 years at least of multiplayer. And never have I gotten this. Now, there's awesome things about this. It means like our really high-end items we make, like artifacts, are going to be cheaper. It means like our Ring of Wizardry, which we were already planning on making with our Pretender design, is going to be cheaper. It means we can, not only will we make it cheaper for ourselves, but we can now potentially sell things to other people. It also means that things that we would normally be making with a hammer that would cost 3 gems would now cost 2, which is like a 30% discount, which is more than the listed 20% you see here. So this is amazing for that. Now, early game, we're not going to be making a ton of items, because that just isn't how it's going to be. But we can even still use the resources. So, you know, we already wanted this to be our first fort because of the amazing income. Now it's going to have amazing resources. And, yeah, I mean, especially if we get this too, this province, and we have all these cleared, so we're sucking these dry for resources, we're going to be able to make a ton of Malia Drazina out of this if we want to, or whatever we want to make. You know, the only thing that's not perfect about this is it's not a crossbow province. They do have these weird plate curious archers, but no thank you. They do have kind of nice short swords. Do all archers have that? Not sure. I don't know if I have any other archer provinces. This one. Oh, it's the same little weird archer. Anyway. Yeah, this is excellent. We've got one guy preaching. I want to go ahead and get my Dominion in here as soon as possible because it's going to be almost like once our Dominion settles in, it's going to be almost like another bad province we get. It's going to be real nice. So we want to go ahead and get that first candle in so our scales start spreading. And we got 10. We're patrolling with this guy. I'd like to start a fort, but we can't yet. And we want to get this unrest down a bit. So, yeah, that's pretty good stuff. We've got this squad. Now, I was conflicted about what to do. Grippa and I talked about it. But on one hand, I want to get this province. It's mine, kind of. You know, it's in my little, like, 9x9 or 3x3, my 9 provinces, including my cap. So taking anybody that takes one of these would basically be declaring war on me. And it's a super nice province, but Atlantis might be cheeky and fuck these guys. We're going to go over there and ruin them. But I think, too, we just, you know, these guys are in our little grudge book. And I don't think it will be a permanent grudge, but they definitely have it coming to them. I don't think I mentioned what happened. So in my Machaca game, I traded for a bunch of, like, I gave them a bunch of land and we negotiated and whatnot, TRHMC, and then they, I mean, first of all, it's not like you shouldn't trust them, and they didn't break a nap or anything, but I didn't sign a nap as part of that. We just negotiated some land, and then they jump in as like the 5th dog in a dog pile and attack me, and I ruined them all game. And they kept attacking me literally until somebody else won the game, which was great. But anyway, the combination of all that, like being the 5th person to like jump on the dog pile, and yeah, after I was like super nice, giving them a ton of free stuff, and then being very friendly, and then they do that. Yeah, we're gonna serve them good. And then Mandar, who's the other person as part of this team, he was like super cool and subbed into that game. But then once he subbed in, he was like super cheeky leading a coalition against me. Anyway, it kind of pissed me off. I think if you're leading a coalition, it's probably nice to be respectful of the person you're 5v1ing or whatever. It's kind of rude to be like smug about it. But anyway, it was also funny, too, because I told him he was going to die before I did. And he was like, you don't get any say in that. You're going to be dead. And I was like, yeah, okay. Anyway, he died way before I did. So that was another silver lining. But all of that, I don't know. I think I was just really salty from that game. And I told them they will get payback. And you can't say that and then not get it. The downside is they know. So they're probably going to attack me. But we're not going to do hollow threats. And after this game is over, I think we'll consider justice due. Because it's not really anything personal. It's just, yeah. It's a score that has to be settled, is basically what it is. Anyway. All that said, there's a decent chance they're going to be running at me or contesting this stuff. And I wanted to send both of these guys here, because if I go here, then they can come here the next turn, right? And this is another one of these crossbowmen provinces where I don't want to hit it with like the minimum amount of stuff, or I'm going to take a fair amount of losses. If I split here, then what's probably going to happen, if this shows like 30 again next turn, then it's probably not many. But this is my first turn seeing it. So if it shows like 60 next turn, it's probably more like 40 or 50 dudes here. So, if that's the case, then we'll have to wait for this army to move over here to reinforce this one and then come down. And potentially I'll have another army here, which comes over and comes up. So, I'm not very worried about taking this. These are pretty easy provinces. This one has archers, so it's going to be not that much in the front. We'll crush the front line, then we'll go to the back, and the archers aren't going to hurt. This one's a little harder because it's got no archers, so it's going to be a much bigger front line that we'll have to hit all at once. And so we're sending both of these guys here. And the other reason to send both of the eparchs here is they can sit here and preach while we wait for this army to come over here if we need to, if there's a fair amount of dudes here. In our cap, we're getting a Staretza, and after that, she's going to go out and site search. But the way it works out, because we've got 2 commander points going to this guy, 1 left over. She's 4, but we have 3 per turn. Next turn, she'll come out, and then we can get something else. So I want to go start site searching fire. And so anyway, that's what we're doing. I think it's going to be too greedy to do another site searcher right away, even though I'd like to. I think after this, we probably do 2 more eparchs, maybe 3, and then switch over to researchers. If we're going to go YOLO really hard into somebody, our eparchs are going to pay off sooner than our researchers will, I think. Though, of course, there's all sorts of it depends about all of that. But we're also, because this next army, we've got the commander coming in with a couple units, and we're going to hit this. And the plan is, because I'm going to start getting a force ready to deal with Atlantis, is this army with what I'm recruiting here. So it's going to be the 2 archers that were on the commander, then these guys, and then some Melia Drazina. They're going to come over here and hit the Bakemono. And the reason I'm getting these archers, they're going to kind of suck against Atlantis for the most part. But they're going to be good against these Bakemono. And they're going to be good because the Bakemono aren't well armored. And I don't think the penalty at night and like in the darkness will make a huge difference. And these guys are armored enough where the Bakemono can kill them, but I don't think they can kill them quickly. So I'm thinking an eparch plus a bunch of these guys. The eparch will help deal with the Kooni. And I'm thinking these guys should be able to kill this, but there's a chance they won't. The Melia Drazina aren't going to do great in the cave because they don't have dark vision. And then the Koonis are pretty goddamn scary. So there's some nice things. I'm a little worried. I would ideally like to send 2 eparchs, then I'd feel pretty safe. But I think with the archers, we'll pepper the Bakemono down. The Kooni also don't have any protection. So I think the archers... If these guys come in and they're making contact with the enemy right in front of the archers, so even though they've got the precision penalty in the darkness, they're close enough they can still hit, I think it will be fine. Anyway, that's what we're doing. We're splitting these because these are both pretty high income provinces. I want to go ahead and get them. We're preaching here. The expansion party I have in my cap now is not coming over here right away because we're going to get the archers. This party is going to come down. We're moving some eparchs over here to join up with it, and then they're going to come hit this province and then hit this one. And this is going to be a nice province because it's got these crossbows. So that's the plan, and if we get all that, we're going to be looking good. I mean, we're already to the point where I have a very good amount of income, and once we get our scales spread and unrest out of our provinces, we're already going to be up at like 1,500, which is fine. I think this turn too, I sign an app with Calum, or maybe it's next turn, but anyway, we're about to go to next turn. I think it's this turn. And I get word from Midgard after I signed an app with Calum that he bumped Calum and killed like 40 birds. And they're just the crappy little Spirehorn warriors, but still that's significant. It's going to slow Calum down. And I was thinking, Grip and I were talking, what would be ideal would be Midgard, which is played by Maryland. He kills Calum. Because I want to get these cold protection nations out of here. In LA, Calum's really scary. I mean, Maryland's scary on Midgard, but... Anyway, him killing them would actually be kind of okay for me. And then, ideally... somebody kills Raga, because they're going to compete with me for Eternal Pyre, potentially. And then Phalegra, I'm kind of cool. They might also compete for me with Eternal Pyre, but I'm fine competing against them. It would be good to have Raga get knocked out, just so I don't have to worry about somebody taking Pyre from me. Otherwise, I would like for them to stay in the game for a long time, but anyway. And I mean, if we're really here making wishes, ideally somebody kills Arco. But I don't think that's going to happen. Anyway, that's basically it for this turn. I think there was a Merc. Yeah, we didn't bid on it. Let's go ahead and go to the next turn, which is our current turn. And there's actually not many people left to go. Yeah, Omniscience needs to go, but otherwise we're making pretty good time. Got a pretty good crew of folks here getting their turns done. Okay, and then so this is us. These are the two northern expansions, and we split up. These Malia Drazina are just units when it comes to expansion. Look at them. They just crumple the militia. These are going to run now. And now it's them versus these guys. This spearman's probably going to die because he's all by his lonesome out here. Yeah, we lose one spearman. Heavy infantry routed. Now we run into the archers. It's kind of weird. These are 14 protection archers. So normally they would crumple really quickly to heavy cav from like the hoof attack because they're unarmored. But these guys have pretty good armor. So yeah, we lose one Peshti spearman. And then I think that's actually the same losses we have here. This is harder though because we've got these crossbowmen back here. Oh no, this is no crossbowmen, I'm sorry. It's just a much more solid line of infantry. But with the smites coming down, we kill everything pretty quickly. Like if we look at the battle report here, the Eparchs killed just as many as the Malia Drazina did. And this is the kind of thing, like, if we didn't have the Eparchs, we probably would have lost the Malia Drazina, and we might have lost the fight. So it went from being like a flawless victory to... It could have gone from being a flawless victory to like a complete rout. We probably would have won without it, but there's a chance we would have lost, and we almost certainly would have lost the other Peshti spearmen, and probably would have lost at least one more, or at least one Malia Drazina. So these Eparchs have been coming in real clutch. We got an event, so we got a lab, and we got 10 nature gems, which is pretty sick. Sadly, this isn't one of the provinces I was like planning on labbing and forting. It's not like a high priority fort. It's here, this province we just took. It doesn't have any special troops, and it's pretty high population, so it wouldn't be bad to fort it. But like, it's got to get in line, you know, like I want to fort maybe this one first because it's going to be a crossbow province that's high income. And I want to fort this one before that one, which is a crossbow province with high income. Yeah. But, you know, it's a pretty big discount on getting mages out to get a free lab. So we'll see. And this turn brings all sorts of silly news from our west, or from our east, which is we now see signs of Atlantis and his god. And I was actually really surprised that he had an expander. Atlantis expands pretty well. They don't expand great because a lot of the troops you want to get take a lot of resources. I actually haven't played them. And I haven't done a lot of expansion testing with them. I think you could probably expand with seal hunters depending on the province. You can't just plow these in, but you can probably use the harpoons to pretty good effect early, and these guys are really cheap. The problem is, like, the guys you really want to expand with, these guys with the cold protection, there's a few problems. One is there are a ton of resources, so getting a critical mass is hard. Two, a lot of the early expansion happens in the summer, and your dominion hasn't spread yet. So the ice protection can actually be a penalty. But, you know, you can expand with your sacreds, which don't have the ice protection thing, which is going to be easier the first year. Or you can use these low... These guys only have ice protection 1, so they're going to get much less of a penalty if it actually is a penalty. And you can use these guys with the ice glaive. This is still a ton of resources. But I think this guy's pretty... No, he's still 22. Yeah, I think you're basically stuck with using your sacreds to start expansion. Or maybe the Mournfuls. Yeah, the Mournfuls are really low. Maybe this is the unit you use. But Anyway, expansion with them is not trivial, but I don't think it's hard. But they've chosen to get an expander, and this guy deserves some respect. We ran a bunch of tests to see how we would do, because there's... So what is the thing? Well, let's pull up the pretender real quick, and I'll show it to you. I don't know the paths it has or anything like that, or the bless, but I've gone and tried to recreate it. I think there's some things we know from the god titles. Some of the god titles aren't on the wiki yet, but we know he's, and we've looked at his scales. He has at least these two. He's cold 3. I think he's growth 3. He's misfortune probably 3, but maybe only 2. And he's at least neutral magic. And then there's a chance that he actually has even better scales than this. And went like super budget, like just took him as a super cheap expander with a couple paths. And then maybe he jacked up his scale some, like something like this. That would be kind of cool, because, it will help a lot with expansion. And you don't really care about the bless. I don't think he did that. I think it's actually closer to something like this, where he maybe did like hard skin or something. And this guy would be pretty hard to kill with hard skin on him. That's kind of what I'm thinking. I don't know, but I suspect. I'm very suspicious that this is what it is. Now, as a chassis, it's a great chassis. It gets 2 attacks, which are reasonably high damage, and high attack. He's got very good attack skill. Base protection is solid at 15 with hard skin and the earth that comes with it. It's actually going to be very hard to kill. It has built-in regen, which is going to mean it is going to get it in friendly and enemy dominion. So I was successful in preaching in that big farmland we got last turn. So my dominion's in there, and it's not his dominion, my dominion. But he could still march in and still have regen. He wouldn't have hard skin if that's his bless. I think his bless options are either he did reinvigoration, he did hard skin, or he did chill aura. Those are my guesses. But he could have maybe even gone like defense or something. It's really hard to know. He also has fear, and this is significant. It's going to rout my guys if they hang out too close. I think is it fear 5? Yeah. I mean, this is a very solid chassis. That being said, we can murder it. But it demands respect. I think I might even have a test game. Let me see. Yeah, I do. I'll just show you guys whatever. I have no idea where we stand here. Okay. So this is an interesting one. I don't think I have hard skin on him here, but this is his dominion. High dominion. He gets like 5 dominion. I can't remember I gave him chill aura here, which wouldn't be great against me, but it would be good against a lot of other things. It's good on the Assertutes or whatever. But this is with like 8 eparchs. And these heavy cav actually are going to do a lot of damage. Now, if he has hard skin with Earth 6, it may not go as well. And so far, because this is in high dominion, he actually has pretty good MR. If he fights in my dominion, he'll get an MR penalty. And that's going to make that's going to change a lot of how much the smite does. But here you can see the lance charges land. He's down to 150, which is his max is 240. So he's going to be regenerating a fair amount every turn. But these lance charges are still hitting. He's down to 99. He's now paralyzed, down to 31. Some of my guys have run because of his fear aura. And then we kill. So, I think we actually killed... Oh, no, he managed to escape this time. So this was with 9 eparchs. But this was in a fair amount of enemy dominion, I think 5. So if we get... if he's fighting in our dominion, it gets a lot easier. Less HP regen, less MR. And I've run this test. What happens if he attacks our farmland and I have, how many eparchs do I need? And the answer is I need about 3 eparchs to mostly win. But I've also, on top of that, and I didn't test with this, but I figured it would probably just help. If I have these, I'm also moving these crossbows from here. Because here's the thing, I'm putting myself in the mind of this player. This player knows that I probably have a woody for them. Because I've told them that. I've said I'm gonna, and I haven't told them this game, but you know, several months ago, I said I owe them one. Like, they were, it's not like I don't trust them. It's not like if we made an app, I wouldn't believe them. But they've just been pretty rude I don't know. Anyway, we've talked about it, but they have it coming in my book. And I'll say, we'll make it a small detour real quick. So carrying around grudges is not good because it means, like, imagine I didn't have any grudges. I would just do the move that I thought was best. But instead, I will sub-optimize that to carry out vengeance. So it's not a good thing. I don't recommend it. That being said, the gauntlet has already been thrown down, and we must follow through, if for nothing else, for good YouTube content. But putting myself in the mind of the player, they're Atlantis. They have an expander. We're called 3 Bogarus. Everybody thinks Bogarus is rush bait. They know that we're probably not going to be friendly. And they have a big scary pretender. And this pretender, by the way, is very good still, even in low enemy dominion, like this province here. Highly likely he attacks me here. If he's successful, it's going to be devastating because I've got a palisade under construction, which we're going to lose. I'm going to lose the PD dump. I put 23 in. I would actually like to do a bit more, like 25, but this is what we got. And we're moving in. Well, and I would lose a bunch of this stuff, but 2. You know, we've got 3 eparchs here. Oh, wait, this guy should be. I'll put this guy. I have 2 divine blessings. I don't need that. You know what we could do? This guy who's moving in, we can put him forward. I'm going to have him actually do Sermon of Courage. It might help with that fear aura some. Let him do Sermon of Courage twice and then Word of Power. So, anyway. Yeah, if we lose this, it's going to be devastating for us. I mean, I don't think it will put us out of the game, but it's going to put us on the back foot because not only will we lose all the investment, we're going to lose the money we've put in for our fort, we're going to lose the PD dump, but we're now going to have Atlantis who we're fighting, who's now in control of this excellent province, and we're going to have a real hard time getting it back because he's going to be able to sail stuff in. It would be a really big deal. That said, if he attacks, I think there's about a 90% chance that we kill him, though there's a small chance he retreats, and a small chance that he wins. If I was really scared about it, I would bring these guys, but I'm not really that scared. Oh, I should add these guys to that. Okay. But I'm not really that scared. So I think this will work. You know, there's also a good chance we get this up to 2 candles, because I think preaching will happen before the battle. And that would mean his god is going to be a little bit weaker in combat too. Now, if his god dies, then he's just going to be it's going to take him forever to get his god back this early, because he's not going to have a lot of preachers. And he's basically just going to be a shitty scales Atlantis, who will go stomp. So we'll see. I think if we look at the moves, this is a likely move. He could move here. This is in my cap circle. It would basically be a declaration of war. But it wouldn't be a great way to start. Like, oh, he takes this. It's a kind of shitty province. I mean, it's actually not bad. 79 income. But he's in my cap circle, so I have to, like, get him out. Like, it would be annoying, but it wouldn't be debilitating. This would actually be much more painful if I end up losing it. And he doesn't know I have the steel ovens, I don't think, but that would make it even worse. Because not only, if he takes it and I have the steel ovens, not only does it mean I have to get it back from him, not only does it mean he's gonna even invest more to defend it. But in addition, if he's losing, he'll tell people that I have the steel ovens here, and I would much rather have that be a secret. So we'll see. I mean, I think in the tests I would win it with just the eparchs. I'll show you guys. 1 second, let me pause it. All right, let's see how this goes. So this is 23 PD without the crossbows. I don't know if he gets an MR penalty. Okay, he does, because it's got... Okay, in this case, it's got my magic scale, and he's got the Dominion penalty. 69 HP. 16. Okay, so we killed them. And that's pretty normal. Now, add into that, what will happen if we have crossbows? We're going to have 8 crossbows. Is they're going to shoot a few times and miss, and then once the infantry get about here, they're going to waddle forward. They're going to be standing here. They're going to waddle forward with the archers. And then once they get here, they're going to start just pumping him full of arrows. So I think that will work. There's definitely a chance we lose, but I don't know. Most every time I haven't. Well, I don't know. There's definitely a chance we lose. It's not a big one. So I don't know. I kind of am of the opinion a little bit too. Like if it's close, buffer to win. But I think without the crossbows, I win like 70% of the time, and probably only lose 10% of the time, or maybe 20. With the crossbows, I think I probably win like 90 plus. And I think that's for, we're not even in a war. I think that's probably good enough. But the complete anti-greed thing would be to not build the palisade here, build it somewhere else, like down here or something. Maybe take this guy and bring him up. I want this guy to preach to get these goddamn misfortune scales out, and to get my Dominion in, because this will probably be my second fort. Because this is an excellent crossbow province. But, yeah, it'll be good to go ahead and get my Dominion over here. If I was really worried, I'd bring him over this way. But, I could also bring him... Like, the complete anti-greed thing would be... Bring him and then put the troops on him, bring him, have this guy do the fort here. We'll build this fort later. It's honestly not a bad idea. The problem if I do that is I was going to use him maybe to reinforce this army. Yeah, I mean, if I reinforce this army, I don't need to do it here, but it would be kind of nice to be able to do it here. How many... He's going to come pick up these dudes. Where are they going to go? The guys we're recruiting, because we've switched to just Malia Druzina. They could come over this way still. The thing is, I don't know how easily I can take this. If I had more distraction chaff, it would probably go easier. Yeah, I'm not sure. And maybe we do the complete anti-greed. Maybe we bring these guys over here. But I kind of like him preaching. I don't like doing it, guys, but I think we're going to go for the middle ground. Because I think when you factor in all the odds on top of each other, like what are the odds he attacks here, then the very small chance he has of winning, I think it'll work out. The other thing, he could sail dudes in. If he sails dudes in, we could be in a bit of trouble. And then next turn, let's visualize it. We're here. Let's assume we don't take any losses. Will we be able to attack? I don't think I would. I think this is too small for running into a crossbow province. But if I had this guy present with the 5 distraction dudes, I think I would. Or this dude present. So yeah, I think we preach, we get a candle. I don't think I'm going to go full anti-greed. I think Home Slice is going to preach. We're going to have 3 eparchs here. And then this guy is going to bring in, this dude is going to bring in 5 crossbows to support and take this. They're going to be all spread out. No, hopefully they'll absorb some distraction fire. Yeah, and then we've got these guys moving in. Unfortunately, this has an ink pot in, so this place where like pooling our guys is going to be a disease place. But there's nothing for it. I need this. We're not going to not take this or like. Is it fall? Yeah, I mean, there is. No, it's basically a 0 chance that these are both turn to cold next turn. I mean, if they both turn to cold, we could pool here instead, but I think we're going to pool up here. Hopefully I don't get an eparch disease, but, you know, I might. And then the 4 switch attacks here, and this is the archers that we had. They're forward positioned, holding fire. These guys are forward position, holding attack with this guy at the back. Hopefully this will take out the Bakemono. The worst move for me, the worst thing would be he moves here and is successful because he sails in with some huge ass army. Be a little early for that. He might sail in an army, which would, I'm pretty sure, die, and move the worm here, and then that would be like a very aggressive move for like a true rush. The move I'm worried he makes is taking the worm and moving it here, because that will kill this for sure. For sure. But I want to get this province anyway. So I think this is a low probability move, because his moves with the worm are either go here in the water, which would be like a very passive thing to do. He could go up here and take the land. I think this is his most likely move. He hasn't finished expansion, probably doesn't want to pick a war yet. And going to take this means, it's going to open up the opportunity for him to get this very juicy farmland, which if I'm a big bitch, I would let him take. I'm not a big bitch. I'm not going to let him take it. But if I was, I would. And with 15 Malia Druzina, which is about what we'll have, we should be able to chop him to pieces. Especially we'll have, I believe, 3 eparchs too. So in non-friendly Dominion, with 3 Malia Druzina, we can cut him up. I mean, with 3 eparchs and 15 Malia Druzina, it should cut him up pretty good. So that will be the plan for next turn. So yeah, assuming he comes up here, we're probably going to end up fighting over this. If he comes here, he's got me. This is like the lowest probability move. He could move here, he could move here, he could move here, or he could move here. This would be potentially a strong move if he pulled it off. This would be the best move if he wants to fight me, I think. I also haven't talked to him. I could be like, hey, do you want a nap? And he would probably say not that much, but that would make him think I knew it was coming. And because I'm pretty sure he's going to attack me, if not now, then soon, and I'd rather have him throw his god away and die, I'm just going to not talk to him and see what happens. But It's a pretty tense turn. This could really go in a bunch of different ways. It could either be really good for us or it could be really bad if we get really lucky here. Or unlucky. Or it doesn't even have to be unlucky. He could just sail in 20 troops plus his god, and that might be enough in Cold 1 to kill me. We don't have our magic scales here either, so my test games may not be completely fair and accurate, because he'll have one more MR than he had in the test game, so... And that can matter. That can matter. Yeah, we'll see what happens. But I have the crossbow as the insurance policy. I think it will work. But yeah, we're slowing down. I mean, we got 2 expansions, I guess. I've also made a nap with Raga, who's over here. And they wanted these 2 provinces, which are not going to give much money. They'll have decent gems probably. And I get this one, which is fine. This is the one I wanted anyway. The only problem is I can't get to this until it turns cold. So we'll have to see. I may need to step through this for a turn with a small army and an eparch and then sit in here and preach it so that I can connect up my territory. Because we can't cross this river until it's cold on both sides. Or we could just cross it in the winter, which will also potentially be a thing. But depending how aggressive Atlantis is being, I might not be able to free up any troops to get this for a while. But I still will have this army over here to clean this stuff up. So, okay, we need to turn back on our palisade because we are going to YOLO this. And there's a decent chance to... I need to get these scouts over here, and I need to have a scout permanently positioned here and here. These are the 2 provinces he can sail from that I can't see. And if I'm going to get sailed on here, I want to be able to see it. So... we're not going to have them there now, but we'll have them there kind of shortly. I probably should build another scout. I'm just too goddamn poor right now. Yeah, I don't want this guy to run. So I think that's fine. I think I'm sending a message to... Omniscience, which I haven't really been reading him, but I'll read it to you now. Well, the worm is pretty interesting. I can't really say I expect Atlantis to have an awake pretender, but I think it's all in all a good thing. I've got a small PD dump plus 3 eparchs plus 10 crossbow. It's actually 8 crossbow. In the big farm province, if he attacks it, I think there's a decent chance of this because people think Bogarus sucks early and I'm cold 3, etc., etc. If he attacks, there's like a 90% chance his god is dead. Not sure what the odds are if he sails in dudes with him, like an army. The move I don't want him to make is to attack the cave with the Bakemono in it, since that would kill my expansion party, which has a chance to die to the Indies anyhow. The move I think his god will make, though, is to move north and challenge me taking the farm next turn. That said, if the god attacks my farm and wins, unlikely, I'm going to be in trouble since I just started a palisade there this turn. So I'd lose the palisade money, my income from that excellent province, and I'd lose the PD dump. I've got a few ways to kill the god in the coming turns, but it deserves respect. Regen built into the chassis, fear, decent protection, 2 attacks. No idea what the bless on it is, though. But with such nice scales, it's pretty darn small. Or I expect it's pretty darn small. Also, good news is TNC isn't happy. Oh, I missed telling you guys this. With Atlantis' border, and might help us knife him real soon. They said they could also help with one of the major woes I had in this war with Atlantis, which is kicking them out of the lake. They said it shouldn't be a problem since they have a dormant Titan that's going to be waking up soon. So TNC spawned down here. And Atlantis has taken this, which is a large province, so it's going to be pretty high income, probably 150 gold a turn-ish. And Atlantis has it, which means they can get to TNC's camp very quickly. It basically means, except for this, they're going to have most of the disputed area. And I didn't offer at the start that I was interested in attacking Atlantis, even though I was. I kind of let them mention it first, and then I was like, yeah, I kind of want to help you with that. So the worry I have about fighting Atlantis is I won't ever be able to kick him out of the lake, and he'll be annoying for forever. If he has a god that can come in here and stop... Oh my god, these are high-income water provinces, too. Holy shit. Kelp forests? Well, if he can come in and kick him out, I'm totally fine with him having the water system. Maybe I get the cap. And these two farmlands, and he's going to get the other stuff. And that will be a big improvement to both of our situations. I think neither of us like the idea of him sailing his shit into the... There's like a big shield protecting him. He's going to sail his shit into our land. No, thank you, sir. So anyway, hopefully they agree to that, and then we can make moves. I told him I could be ready to attack in as little as 3 turns, which I think is about right. To kill the god too, the other thing, I changed up my research a bit, even though we're at 0 a turn, so it's kind of not very meaningful when I change it when we're not researching anything. But I want to go ahead and get Spirit Curse first, because we want to get that god all afflicted, if nothing else, out of pure spite. But it's also going to make it a lot easier to kill, because once it fatigues out, it'll take more crits, and if we get Curse on it, it's going to get, chest wound and maybe more likely to get bleed. I don't actually know if it affects bleeding, but there's a chance it does, and if it does, then it'll get bleeding more and fatigue out. It'll get Never Healing Wound, and then it'll regen less. There's just a bunch of good things that come with cursing it, if we're trying to kill it. So, yeah, that will be the change in the research. Depending how early we go, like I said, we're probably going to get more eparchs. Probably 2 more turns of this of eparchs, which will mean 3 more eparchs, which will put us at a critical mass of like about 10 eparchs that we could potentially combine into a force and go run at them. And that will be very hard for them to deal with, I think. Ideally, by the time I'm running with him, I have maybe a Master of Names so I may need to think about it. Like, maybe the order is I do a Master of Names and an Occultist. And once those are done, I make 2 or 3 more eparchs. Because they're going to need a couple turns to just labor away researching. And then I can stuff some death gems on an Occultist and have him run off with my army. And then he can do Spirit Curse and make a few skeletons. So that seems eminently reasonable to me. We probably shouldn't do eparchs right away. I think I need to get a tiny bit of research just for Spirit Curse. Because we're getting... it, but it all depends too. Like, if his god attacks me and dies, then I don't need to research Spirit Curse. And that means I can go straight into the eparchs. Because if we're running in with 10 eparchs and 30 or 40 heavy cav, I'm also... if his god dies, we'll probably start making a lot more archers for siege chaff and stuff. Then we should just crush whatever he has left. It should be kind of interesting. But yeah, I think that's it, guys. I've kind of rambled on long enough. It's kind of a stressful turn, even though nothing's necessarily happened yet. There's a lot that could happen. And I mean, oh my god, this guy will ruin PD. I could put like 50 PD here and it wouldn't do anything. I have to have the crossbows and the eparchs, but if I have them, I should ruin them. But like when I first pulled up the turn, I was like, oh god, he has an expander. And then I was like, oh, but that's fine. I'm really good at killing expanders. And then I was like, well, I'll PD dump and have an eparch. Like, can I just keep this guy so that these eparchs can go and do this other stuff? Probably, right? Because he'll hit him and then eventually he'll get paralyzed and the PD will kill him. Nope. 1 eparch isn't enough. 2 eparchs, not usually enough. 3 eparchs is probably enough. But even then, the 3 eparchs doesn't always work. 3 eparchs plus the crossbows works most all the time. So, yeah, this guy definitely deserves respect and can YOLO pretty hard into you outside of your dominion, or outside of their dominion. So, thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time.